and welcome to the Funkcast. Ooh, that sounded like I said a better word on accident. The Funky Cast. This is episode number 22 of the Holo Herald podcast. We are streaming live at our usual time. Well, actually, it's not our usual time. Completely wrong. We're a day late on accident. We're right around the same time, but we're a day late. We had some plans for the night before, and those plans fell through, so everything didn't really work out. So we ended up just going ahead and pushing it back a day for the live stream. If you guys are listening to the pre-recorded version, there's not going to be a single difference for you guys, but for the ones that normally join us on the live cast, sorry for being a little late, but we're here, and we've got some exciting stuff to talk about today, so I think we'll totally make it worth your wait. Today, I'm joined by two good friends. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, boys.
Hi, I'm Paul. I'm back for another amazing episode of the Holo Herald podcast, and I can't wait to be here and talking about stuff. And I totally butchered that, but hey, I wasn't thinking when I came into it. I'm here now, though, and I'm excited. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about today, and I hope our viewers have some interesting stuff to kind of bring in to enhance our discussion.
Okay, and a not-so-good friend.
Actually, a really good friend, Austin. And Paul, I'm glad you're here too with us. And I'm glad to be able to. We have some sweet topics that we're going to be discussing, and yeah, let's get into it.
And I don't think I mentioned this, but I'm Erik, and I'm your usual host. I'll be here. I've been here since day one, and I've only missed one podcast where I got my death wished upon me. So I'm not planning on missing any others.
That was a dark time.
That was a dark time.
Austin, were you in a dark place when you wished Erik's death upon him?
Yeah. Well, Alex and I, we didn't really know what we were doing, so we're just like, I don't know.
It was good. It was entertaining.
I think we're at a point in our lives, in history, where things have never been easier. Could you guys imagine trying to do a podcast in the 90s? Like, trying to get microphones and getting a mixer and getting a recording device. I mean, what would you record to in the 90s? Probably a cassette tape?
Well, I guess that's why podcasts didn't exist in the 90s.
It was only radio and such, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine if podcasts were like mixtapes, where people just like on the street were like, hey, check out my podcast, and handed you like a CD or a cassette tape, and they were like, hey, check out this mixtape.
What do you think they'd have to talk about if they're just walking around hanging on the street? Because you always get that. I remember distinctly whenever I was in Washington D.C., you always have the guys with the CDs trying to start their rap career with their CDs on the side of the street. What if that's how people started their podcast career? We should do that. That'd actually be pretty fun to try. See
just
how people
hand
react.
out CDs of our podcast.
Be like, here's our podcast.
I don't know
and
about
then,
that.
like, on the podcast, you could talk about your experiences of trying to give people your podcast on the street. You could call it the Being Annoying on the Street podcast.
Dude, that's like some second level. That's like Inception level deep stuff, you know?
Yeah.
What do you think is the worst platform to record on? Probably, how did they make, does anybody know the process of making a record, a vinyl?
Isn't it like...
I know when
I
they
feel like-
make the negatives, it's pretty hard, but yeah.
I just know there's some sort of pressing process where I don't know.
Yeah, like the scratches in the vinyl are the sound waves from your voice or whatever like is creating the sound. So I guess it'd be similar to like a phonograph, like, you know, that old thing?
Yeah, with like the ticks.
Yeah.
So are you suggesting we get the Holo Herald podcast on vinyl?
That'd be cool.
I would say so for extra fidelity.
What's the maximum? Well, I guess we probably couldn't do very high
You
fidelity.
get like 20 minutes?
Yeah, we get like 20 minutes on a 48, right? Is that how big they are? 45? Wow, we don't know anything. We're really showing our age here. This is not very good. Yeah, Austin owns a record player.
Sorry, I'm one of those like wannabe hipsters. So I'm not like in the scene, but I'm in the scene.
Could you imagine that though? Because they sold like narrative stories and stuff. But could you imagine like did they ever release radio broadcasts on vinyl at one point? Because that would have been the only way to condense that. I don't know. I'm curious. I'm interested in the recording platforms because they had if I understand correctly, they had like live radio and live stuff before they learned how to capture that better and actually store it for longer. Same with TV, right? Like back in the day, once something came on TV, that was your only chance to see it. There was no in-home version or captured version of that available, correct?
Yeah, I don't know, but I feel like that's definitely
I feel like
more possible thing.
you're heading in the right direction there.
We're going to talk about the future, not the past.
All right, so let's move to the future.
Okay, let's move to the future. Let's move to the future.
What's next?
What is
Eric, you go.
I go. Okay.
Yeah, tell us something.
Okay, I got something for you. I don't want to talk about mixed reality stuff yet. That stuff's boring. There's not a whole lot that happened this week, so we'll save it for that. I recently just started playing the saxophone. I just picked it up for no reason because I always wanted to when I was younger. You played the baritone, correct, Paul?
Oh yeah,
How
I was
years?
the baritone master. I don't know, how many years did you play the clarinet for, Austin?
I played it for, I think 3.
Then that's how many years I played the baritone for, because we were in band together the entire time. if
We
you don't
were?
remember. Yeah. Well, I guess you were at one school and I was at the other school, but then when we went to
Oh,
the
when
other
we went
high
to
school
Battle of the
together,
Bands?
yeah. I don't know. It's a similar time period.
Wait, did you go to
because
White
I
Pine?
didn't.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
Austin,
No.
hit your push to talk.
I am pressing my push to talk.
Get closer to your mic, 'cause I could hear
I'm
you
sorry.
more than I could hear you on yours.
Oh, I didn't know that. For some reason, I have like distinct memories of you at Cedar Ridge. That's so weird. That tells you how your memories.
Because I have distinct memories of you at White Pine.
That's so weird. Okay, yeah, wait. So you guys played when you guys were that young?
Yep.
Yeah, because I didn't want to do an art class. Like, yeah, band is art, but I didn't want to like paint or draw. So I was just like, yeah, give me a baritone and I'll play it like half-assed for like 3 years, so I don't have to do art.
Did you like it? Were you a baritone master?
No, I don't think I never practiced.
Were you even big enough to play a baritone then? That's like huge.
Yeah, I killed it, dude.
What chair were you?
Well, there was only 2 of us, and I don't wanna hate on the other guy, but I thought I was the better player. But he practiced. But,
Oh,
yeah.
so that makes a difference. They the baritones are freaking huge. They're really expensive too. Your poor parents have to rent one. I don't know. I think that's the best time to learn is when you're a kid because you can just soak that stuff up so quickly. Though I mean, you could do like a 30-minute lesson, and it's like the equivalent of me doing like an hour and a half of work. You'd pick it up the same amount of time and quicker. But and you played the clarinet, correct, Austin?
I did.
I never played any musical instrument, so I thought it was about time for me to like at least learn something, you know. So I had some sort of experience. And
So why the saxophone?
I've always wanted to since I was a kid. Like I've loved jazz since I was young, very very young, and recently beat tapes have been getting really popular. And I was just gonna say that about our intro. Our intro was like super funky and stuff like that. And I've been into beat tapes for the past years, and I've heard so many like easy-ish sounding tunes for beat tapes that I was like, hey, you know, I mean, I could pick that up and learn how to play. You know, something to do with my spare time. I don't sleep at night. You know, I don't fall asleep till like 4 or 5 in the morning, so I have to do something with my time. And I thought that was a good way to spend my time. But
Interesting.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
How's it coming along?
I can do. I don't remember what they're called. The notes. I can do my scales.
Scales?
I can do my
Yeah.
scales, but I can't remember which ones. I remember the fingerings. It's hard. Did you guys learn how to read music?
I was supposed to, but I kind of just like, because I didn't practice, I would go to like whenever new music would be given to us, I would go to the first one and just completely suck, but I'd pick it up by listening to the people around me, and then I was fine.
You just copy them. Did you learn how to
Yeah.
read music, Austin?
Yeah, I did, but I don't think I can do it that well now.
Yeah, and I've read for like the saxophone and the clarinet and stuff like that. It's actually not super duper important to learn how to read the notes. It's actually are we getting comments? I'm not even looking at the.
Yeah.
Oh.
People are giving us sarcastic, riveting comments. I see you pump up the volume.
We know it's riveting. We know we're exciting.
Why were we talking? I don't know why we were talking about this. What have you got this? Oh, I know why. Have you guys heard of the Theremin? Have you guys heard of an instrument called the Theremin?
Theremin.
I'm gonna drop a link. Go ahead, everybody, right now. Go ahead and Google the instrument called the Theremin.
Do you spell it weird?
No, just exactly how you would think. Theremin. This is a freaking cool instrument. This is an instrument made back in 1928, and it uses like your body's proximity to this rod to create sound, to these two different rods. And you can't like create chords or anything. It only makes like, it's a monophonic. I can't remember what that word is exactly. But I'll go ahead and I'll drop a Wikipedia link for anybody that's interested. But I saw this and I thought, that is like the most futuristic instrument I've ever seen in my life. And then lo and behold, it's been around since 1928. And it blew my mind. And it got me thinking.
Oh, is this like the alien noisemaker?
Yeah, they use them for that a lot. They use them for that. Which is, I didn't realize it had been around that long, which got me thinking of a really freaking cool HoloLens app. Why can't we, there should be a HoloLens version of this. Like, you know, with the new mixed reality controllers that they're coming out with? How cool would that be to have like a holographic Theremin standing in front of you? Because, I mean, you could do all this, essentially the same concept with software, I would think, you know, close enough. And how cool would that be, like the proximity you get close to it? And I was thinking of like holographic instruments, which is really weird. But, I mean, like a drum, why couldn't you play a drum in holographic? And why couldn't you play a saxophone in holographic? I don't know. I just got started thinking about, like, holographic music, which is a realm I hadn't thought of for mixed reality yet. What do you say, Austin?
Jason, he owns one of those instruments on the chat.
Dude, Jason, you own a Theremin? That is so freaking cool. They, I want one so bad. They're not super expensive either. Is it hard, Jason? I'm curious, because people say it's like one of the hardest instruments to actually sound good at. They say you can make a bunch of sound and stuff like that, but actually make like music is one of the hardest instruments. They say it's like trying to play for Elise with your forehead is basically the essential, the concept is what they said, which is pretty funny. So I think we should pick one of these up because they look awesome.
We can make our own like music with it.
Yeah.
Drop a beat on SoundCloud.
Could we please just make like a video of you?
Our intro is just Austin going. I
guess the Meta 2 has an app like that.
So another reason why we need the Meta.
Yeah.
Meta 2 has an app like that. It is hard to get accurate. Very hard. That's what I understand. Like I see the lady. She's got her hand like distorted, like she's trying to do Naruto symbols or something like that, and she's summoning sound. I was watching videos on YouTube. If you guys have time, it's totally awesome. But this led me down like a rabbit hole on YouTube of different things. They make laser instruments. So it's like I'll drop a chat into it. Look up laser harp, and you can look at images or Wikipedia or whatever, but this uses like a laser to tell your hand the distance, and when your hand interrupts the laser and how far it is to the ground, you can make like different sounds and stuff like that. Also would be a really cool replicated app for the HoloLens, I was thinking. Anyways, these range for like $5,000, and I'm just thinking about the future of mixed reality and music, which I know is totally off the rails. Like we didn't plan on talking about this at all, but you know those like those concerts, like that was one of the Paul, you remember that? That was like one of the first HoloLens videos we saw. Someone did like a Beyonce concert or something like that for HoloLens.
I'm trying to think if I remember that.
It was just like in a bar. It was like in a bar, and it was just like a virtual singer on that.
Beyonce? Oh, so Beyonce was the virtual singer?
Yeah, she was the virtual singer.
Okay, so she was like Tupac when they brought Tupac back.
Exactly.
As a hologram. Yeah.
I was wondering if that was something you guys would pay for. Would you guys pay for an experience like that to go see a holographic version of a concert where
so
it looks like they're there?
Is it like a live version of them that's been like holo-teleported, or?
I don't know. We'll ask
you're
both.
getting into some crazy territory there, Austin.
I better not go there.
We'll start simple. We'll get more complicated. So no, let's say it's like a pre-recorded. Like that Actiongram with Reggie Watts.
I love that.
Yeah, that was really cool. That's a really cool collaboration, imagine. But is that an experience if it was in a live setting and everybody had HoloLenses or something like that? HoloLens on. Is that an experience you guys would participate with? I asked this to people in the comments too. Is this something that you guys would? I don't know. I'm trying to think of the future of virtual entertainment.
maybe if I was at Disneyland or something,
If
you
you're
know,
at Disneyland?
like I don't know, they just have all these rides or whatever set up, and I don't know what I'd do.
Thanks, Austin.
Well, okay, so let's say that, yes, we're willing to pay. How much are you willing to pay? Because basically, it's like watching a music video with a bunch of other people, right? So,
Exactly.
and most people are not willing to pay for a music video. So how much what would be your price tag to have like that concert experience, but like it's just a bunch of people getting around and watching these pre-recorded concerts?
Is the audio as good? The audio would be as good as a real concert, right?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
as crappily good. You know, like the same vibe. Yeah, I don't know. That'd be fun. I think that'd actually be kind of fun. I mean, that could give you the potential to see concerts that you would never see. People like Michael Jackson, Tupac. I mean, if it was like oldie goldies, you know, people that aren't alive anymore, to be able to virtualize them and go to a live concert of them, that would actually be really spectacular. I'd probably pay, 25, 30, 60, depending on the venue and depending on where it is, upwards of $100 if it was good enough,
I can just see like a bunch of people with HoloLens on, jumping up and down, like that would be dangerous.
That would be awesome. But I mean, could you imagine seeing the Beatles live again?
And like nobody's on a stage.
Someone else just walks up and they have no idea what's going on.
Without a HoloLens,
They
there's
just
just a
look-
bunch of people like freaking out, and there's nothing.
But the music would be super loud. I don't know. I think that would be cool. It'd even be weirder. What if there was like no ambient music and it was all like chained to everybody's HoloLenses, so it was just like ambient, like it was just using the HoloLens speakers, everybody's? That'd be crappy. But I mean, that'd be kind of fun, don't you think?
Yeah,
Jason-
I think it would be fun, but I'm not sure if I'd pay like upwards of what you would pay, like normal concert ticket prices. I think they'd definitely have to be at a discount for me to be like, yeah.
All right.
That's
Let's
reasonable.
say Glass Animals stopped touring. They're just done. They broke up as a band. But you could go see them live for like $100, but you get to see them and you get to see like everything in it. Or would you just rather listen to the music normally?
I don't know. Like, I guess I have to go to a Glass Animals concert first.
I did
Speaking of
totally.
which,
Go ahead.
everyone should check them out. They're dope.
Glass
Sorry.
Animals. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great plug for Glass Animals. A great band.
Yeah.
Who's actually touring right now? Probably somewhere near you. Well,
Actually, yeah, they are coming this weekend to Cincinnati.
yeah.
You should go.
They just left Utah like last couple weeks ago. It also, I guess it depends on the type of band, because I mean, it'd be kind of cool with like laser shows and stuff like that. Because I was thinking Flume, who we've gone seen in concert, would be cool. But it's not really that exciting. It's not like there's a lot of people. It's not like there's a lot of ambience. But the laser show was pretty cool, and I don't know. But you could totally add to it. You could have like things like floating around in the air. I'm just trying to think of how cool the future like mixed reality spaces will be. Like we saw, what's that movie with the girl, the anime? Yes, Ghost in the Shell. Thank you
Ghost in
so
the
much.
Shell.
Yeah, you know how everything had like holographic ambient spaces around it. Do you think we'll get to the point where it's like your average area just has holograms pre-baked into it?
Yes, and I think so. The main reason why I think that will be the case is because now it's like in pop culture with movies like that. It'll be like people will want it to go that way because the technology will definitely be in the point where we'll be able to go that way. But I think it's movies like that and other things that'll make people be like, oh, that's cool as hell. Like, I want that in normal life. And someone is going to make that happen,
That's interesting because I think, to me personally, I think cinema is one of the places that VR and holograms like don't have a place. I feel like that's something that, at least I hope, will always kind of stay. Do you feel like that'll be a big push? Like mixed reality movies will be a big deal and people want to go see them and such.
Well, imagine like Jurassic Park, but it's happening around you, I think that would be incredible.
Pretty cool. That'd be pretty freaking cool.
So
maybe
feel
like
like-
an MR
I think it would
experience.
be on a movie. Yeah, it would be a movie on by movie basis. Like some movies will not be built for it. Like I can't name one off the top of my head right now. I'm sure you have some ideas of ones that you would absolutely not want to see in an MR setting. But
Saw?
yeah, Saw.
I feel like if we
I
had an
see-
MR like horror, Alex would just be in the corner, not looking at anything in the film. And
Dude, MR horror. That's one of the coolest things, actually. There's a guy in the Holo Developer Slack. Before I misquote him, let me find his name really quickly. Kyle. Kyle something. He's working on a really awesome like scare house where you have a gun and you have to go through it, and it's like a truly mixed reality in the sense where it's got like real props, but also mixed reality bad guys like trying to chase you, and if you use a gun to shoot them and stuff like that. That sounds awesome. That sounds like something I would pay for right there. Maybe not like, well, and it's really easy for them to like change up the experience. Like one night could be like a Halo night, and one night could be like a Left 4 Dead night and stuff like that. That sounds awesome. I'd be down for that. Is that an experience you guys would be able to want to try or something?
Oh yeah, definitely. Sounds super fun.
Yeah, I would pay big bucks for that. I think that'd be a really popular thing. Like, I can see people really wanting to do that. Because, like, it's one thing to go to a scary movie. It's another thing to, like, live it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, at the end of it, you know you're going to be all right. So,
The holograms can't get you.
yeah, I think that's an experience I would be willing to pay for, and I think a lot of people would be willing to pay for.
We have this.
Jason Odom's actually one of the developers on the project.
Oh, really? That is a cool project. I've seen the he's got airsoft guns, and he's got like IR shooters and stuff attached to him, or I don't know exactly what they are. Bluetooth shooters, or well, I don't understand exactly. They don't release a lot on it, but I've seen the pictures and stuff, and they have really cool sets designed with like people on the chopping block and stuff like that, and then you have like an airsoft gun. It just looks really freaking cool. And sadly, it's happening in Florida, or else we would totally. Maybe we still will have to go try it, because he offered to let us come down and try it once it's ready, but man,
We'll definitely have to go down there, at least like a couple of us, as a nice little vacation.
Yeah.
Because you said it was like in Orlando, right?
Somewhere around there. It's in Florida. I don't know. Maybe Jason can clear it up for us. But yeah, continue on.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, that's something that we have to try, because that sounds just incredible. And it'd be a fun vacation for us, and, like, well, we could probably tie it together, like, find, like, a cool conference down there and see if...
That's exactly what
like
I was
that.
thinking.
Yeah.
So that's actually something I think for the Holo Herald, that's a really big push we want to start making for 2018. Yeah, 2018 is to do a lot more live event coverage and live news coverage, because when we first started, there wasn't much live events and there wasn't much live activities going on. But with stuff like cool people building games like that, and there's so many hackathons now. Microsoft puts on really cool hackathons. I think it'd be fun to cover those cool hackathons and see what people are working on and such. I think that'll be a big angle for us, is to try to cover more live events and try to get more there. Sadly, it's really expensive to cover live events.
Oh yeah, travel costs alone.
Yeah, extremely, just travel costs. But that game sounds awesome. And I think that's one of the biggest things holding HoloLens back right now is I love like the click control. Okay, we could kind of move on. We'll move on to a topic. So Shanong just released, a good friend of ours, just released a video talking about the new Windows Mixed Realities controllers. They look really pretty cool. You watched the video, right, Paul?
Oh yeah, I didn't like listen to the sound because I was talking to you guys, but I like watched it. They look really nice. Like, they seem really sturdy. They have joysticks on them, and then they seem like they're made of similar material to the clicker, like the clicker we got with the HoloLens.
Mm-hmm.
So they look really nice. And the guy, and I forget who he made the video with, but he was like gesturing like he was shooting a bow and stuff. So I can see definitely some cool applications coming out of those. I'll be very interested to see once he actually starts putting them into use with the HoloLens. I don't know if there's any apps that will support them right now, but I'm sure he'll make one, and we'll have to check that out, and probably have to pick up some ourselves to start making videos with them.
Sean, he gets everything early. He got all the Acer headsets, he got all the headsets, and now he got the controllers, and we're just sitting here watching, being like, oh, we need that stuff, we need that gear so bad, we need it so bad, because it all looks awesome. The controllers look cool, and from what I understand, they're supposed to be like a one-fits-all kind of scenario. They're supposed to work for the new Acer headsets, and to be able to even control like your computer OS, and they're supposed to work on HoloLens, correct?
Yes. I believe they were actually made for the Acer headset, because the Acer headset, you're not going to have like the hand controls that the HoloLens will have. Mm-hmm. I believe, don't like quote me on that, and I'm sure people will hold me to that. So I'm already ready to get roasted in the comments, folks. but I think they were mainly made for those sets, those kind of like faux MR headsets. So it'll be really interesting to see how those really work. We'll definitely have to get our hands on some and start making some videos with them.
When we first saw those released, we were extremely skeptical, though. And I think I'm still hesitant. Like, I'm really excited. I want to try. I want to see what they have to offer. But I still don't think, at least for the HoloLens, that's our, like, ultimate solution, especially for the HoloLens. I could see, like, the place they fit in, but as a user of the HoloLens and someone that uses it recreationally and every day, I feel like adding a secondary device, like the whole mentality of the HoloLens is to be a single device, all in one, all encompassing. You don't need anything else. You don't need to tether it. You don't need anything. You can just get up and go, except for if you want to record, you have to have internet. Gosh darn it. And I feel like the HoloLens, I mean, these controllers kind of defeat that mentality. What are you guys' opinions on that? Besides the clicker, obviously.
I mean, they add a certain functionality to the HoloLens that you wouldn't get, which is nice. But I feel like in future updates of the HoloLens, you could improve gestures and have it more responsive, and that would address the problem. But yeah, I do agree that I just like having the one piece of technology that will do it all.
And not having to get add-ons. What about you, Paul?
Yeah, I take kind of the same approach to it that Austin does, in the fact that, yeah, it adds some really cool functionality right now, but the way that Microsoft markets the HoloLens, it's like for people who use their hands, it's for engineers, it's for plumbers, it's for electricians, people like that, who they need to use their hands. They don't want to have controllers in their hands to do what they're doing. They need to be like manipulating physical objects. They're just using the mixed, like the holograms to know how to manipulate those objects, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, the controllers add some functionality, but they also take some away in the fact that you lose the ability to use their hands, and it kind of takes away some of the allure of it in terms of like what the future will be like. I mean, if they keep these, I think that's going to be a major disadvantage to them in the future, in the fact that for me, MR is all about, in the future, I just want glasses. I don't want anything besides glasses, and I just want them to work, you know?
Exactly. Sorry, continue on.
Well, I was going to say, and even like if they can make voice the only way to control it, and it works really, really well, that's what I would need, because if I'm busy with my hands, I don't want to have to reach up and go tap, tap, tap. I want to just be like, all right, next, 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 you know, or do this.
I actually find myself using the voice controls more than I find myself using the touch controls. It's more seamless, and Jason, can you link us to that? That sounds cool. I don't think we've seen that yet. If it's what I'm thinking it is, those do look really cool. Oh, sorry, for people that are listening to the podcast, Jason just commented, says, what about the Ring controller scroll? And maybe we can Google that real quick, and one of you guys can drop a link in the chat. That'd be great.
I think it's a function of the controllers.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't think it's an actual, but we'll see.
We'll see. Anyways, and I think you're exactly right, Paul. I think it kind of defeats the purpose of it, because I think my number one favorite thing about the HoloLens, out of everything the HoloLens has to offer, I think the simplicity and how natural it is the number one thing going for it. And for that matter, not just the HoloLens in general, all mixed reality technologies and devices. I think that is the let me think, the ultimate the ultimate pro. Like, out of all the cons and all the other pros, simplicity is. I mean, what other technology have you guys seen that you can hand to somebody and within 5 minutes they're running it, they understand how to work it, they know every control, and they can navigate it, and they can completely work the device 100%? Can you guys think of anything? I think the closest thing I could do is an iPad. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even then, you'll get some confused people. If it's so like if you say like, oh, you need to like turn down your brightness or turn off the auto rotate feature. Like, not many. Like if someone just got it, they're not going to know how to do that yet, you know? So there's like those small things that are not going to make sense. But on the HoloLens, it's just a button on the top of the HoloLens that you just press to turn down the brightness. Stuff like that I think is going to be, I don't know. But yeah, that's one of the more user-friendly technologies out there. I think definitely I can't think of anything else that meets that level.
Yeah, sorry, there's a lot of links going around. Yeah, and you're exactly right. I've never had a device. Like, I've shown technologies to a lot of people. I've taught people how to run computers, taught people how to run their phones, taught people how to run Xbox, whatever the technology is. We've probably demoed it to someone older, someone more tech inept, quote unquote. And I've never had something like the HoloLens where I just hand it to somebody and they instantly know how to work it. And I'm talking like my grandparents, people that don't even have cell phones, well, smartphone cell phones, that don't even have smartphones, are willing to put it on, try it, and they have fun. And there's a smile on their face, they're not getting frustrated, and it just works. And I think that just is a, what's the word I'm looking for? Is a proof of concept, is a showcase to the technology and how much potential it really has. For consumers and employees and investors and stuff to just be able to throw it on and work it and not get frustrated and work. I do have one gripe. About the HoloLens. I think it should be easier to get the field of view aligned up with your eyes. Austin, I think you had a recent problem with this.
Yeah, I was let my friend use the HoloLens the other day, and he tried for at least 30 minutes trying to get it centered on his face. I don't know what his problem was, but he was just having a really difficult time, and it was pretty frustrating for him, and it kind of like felt like it like ruined the experience for him. And I, as I've been reading like YouTube comments and people like complaining about the FOV, I see people response like how they didn't have like a good experience with it because they didn't adjust it on their face right. And because we find the FOV like not a problem, but other people do, and it could be because they don't just have it adjusted on their face right.
That's a really good point. I never even thought of that. You know, because a lot of people, when they try the HoloLens, they only have like 10, 15 minutes with it or less sometimes. And I mean, if that experience isn't 100% correct, if your FOV is not like, if you have the wrong nose piece on, or if you have glasses on and it's not adjusted correctly, that could really make the FOV seem atrocious. I never thought about that, but because I've never had a problem with it, it always just has been seamless. But you're exactly right. When I'm demoing it to people, I always like try to adjust it on their faces for them, or I try to make sure that white dot is in the center of their face right before we start anything. And sometimes it just doesn't work out. It just doesn't. The FOV doesn't get 100% on, and I don't think the experience is as good for them. And I think that's a bummer. I don't know if there's a solution to it essentially, but like they need like a calibrator once it's on your head, you know.
Just like the Back to the Future shoes that just adjust to your foot.
Exactly. You just like put it on your head and it comes right over. Go ahead, Paul.
Well, speaking of like the calibration, if you recalibrate the headset, it actually should do its best to fix that problem, because you have to identify, like, you know how you like you close your right eye and then you tap some things, you close your left eye and you tap some things. That is to kind of judge, oh, here's where we need to place things in order to make it nicer for you. So if it was calibrated to someone else's, like, how they wear the HoloLens, you're gonna have problems. I think. Yeah, it's cumbersome to have to recalibrate it each time for every person, but like if it's like atrocious for someone, it's worth recalibrating. And I mean, it's not a super long process to recalibrate on that person. Like make them go through the process themselves, so it's set for them.
I think someone built an FOV app too, if I remember correctly. There's an app that helps you center your FOV perfectly. Like you just open up the app and then it makes it perfect. I think, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure there is one. And we wouldn't make a video on it because it wouldn't be much benefit. But yeah, and I think back to the original topic, the controllers just adds another layer on top of that dynamic. If I get someone all geared up to go and ready to play their apps and run around and do whatever they want to do, and then I'm like, and here's these, and I hand them these two controllers that has buttons on them and they have to move them the correct way, Do you guys think that makes it an easier experience having to bypass the air tap and such, or do you think that kind of makes it more difficult?
I think the person needs sufficient training on gestures to be able to do anything. So
But like the gestures really aren't that hard. I mean, if you tap your thumb, like if you do the air tap correctly, which is just tapping your thumb, like you're not gonna have any problem with it. The bloom is one of the most simple gestures I know, and that's about it really. And then to like scroll, you just like hold your finger down, pinch and drag. So yeah, I think yeah, the controllers are a hindrance, but from what it looks like to me is they have like the same joysticks on there that you would have on an Xbox controller. So there has to be something to that. I would love to see how it really controls with the HoloLens, you know?
Oh yeah, I'm super excited. It'll be cool to actually touch holograms because I think that's the one of the top experiences that is missing right now, and it's really exciting and fun to see this evolution of interaction with holograms happening. Because when we first started out, I mean, the only apps besides Fragments, besides the big AAA title apps, the only interaction with holograms you had was like clicking and dragging and clicking and letting them play, you know. But now with the controllers, we're going to have the ability to touch, to hold holograms, to touch holograms, to do whatever we want. So I think that's really exciting. Like, could you imagine playing catch with your friends? Like actually playing catch, throwing a hologram back and forth? That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that would be pretty incredible. And I just realized something. We need to cut this out, but I've been recording on the wrong mic this entire time, so I'm going to pause real quick and restart the recording with the right mic.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
I did the same thing.
LOL.
Not this podcast, but the other ones. We can.
Okay, I think we're good.
Okay, say like 1 2 3 1 2 3.
1 2 3 1 2 3.
Okay, now we can line that up pretty easily if we need to. Okay. Let me think what we're saying. Okay, so the controllers. I still don't think the controllers are the ultimate solution, though. I saw a fella on the Holo Developers Slack hack up his own. He took one of the Google Daydream controllers and hacked it up to be. Where did I post that link? Can anybody find where I posted that link? Did I post the link? Or did I not?
I think so.
Okay, I'm just gonna find it again.
Oh yeah, you did. It's in podcast Slack.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just dropping it here anyway. He took one of the Google Daydream controllers and via Bluetooth hooked it up to work with his HoloLens. And I think this is a much more elegant solution to the controller problem. You can then use like a pointer. He basically has a laser pointer that he can then use to interact with holograms. And this now has motion tracking capabilities. He can point it at things. He can he can pick up something if he needs to. I don't know. And it's a much slimmer, not very invasive controller. I think this is a much better solution. What do you guys think is like the most optimal solution? Is it better gestures, smaller controllers, or do you think the controllers are the best solution to the interaction with holograms problem? Press your push to talk.
We get implants in our hands.
Gosh darn it.
Is that really all you had to say, Austin?
If someone says implants in your hands in the comments, we'll give you a $20 Steam card. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll buy it for him.
Okay.
What's wrong with implants in your hands?
Anyways, moving on. Do you have any other better solution, Paul?
That's the best solution.
I think that this ring controller that Jason Odom was talking about is like really cool looking, and it seems like in the demo video I posted that Austin provided, it looked very, very functional and very cool.
So you guys. Oh God, sorry to people on the stream. Just blasted you guys. This is in the chat. Paul just posted it. Pointing is a very natural way of interacting. For people listening to the audio version, So I experiment with mimicking pointing using a gyroscope attached to a laser pointer on a robot arm. People seem to find this very intuitive. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so that's kind of like a hybrid of the Google Daydream mixed with like a ring kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Which I think is really cool because there's been mouses out there that have fit in on your fingers like that, and those have seemed like if I had like a projector uh, and a home theater that was like based off of a Windows PC, that's what I'd want as my mouse and keyboard setup is like one of those little handheld mouses. So I think that's a very, I think it's a very cool idea, and I think that might actually be the future we're looking at in terms of early interaction with these holograms.
I don't know if this solution with AR kit is the best though. Could you imagine you have to hold your phone in one hand and you have to point with the other? I guess
Yeah, but imagine that ported to the HoloLens.
Oh, yeah, yeah, definitely. And with the wheel on the side and the buttons and everything, that seems
Yeah.
extremely intuitive.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it would work on the AR kit. I know
Well,
it
that's
was
what he's
filmed-
using it on. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think that was probably one of the. I want to see. He should have done like our kind of videos where he's showing the person like wearing the device or like using the device instead of just the device what the device is just showing, because I think that would have been a hilarious video to see this guy with an iPad and he's like pointing in front of him, so he's holding the iPad with one hand and he's looking through the iPad to see what he's looking at. It just seems very cumbersome to me.
This is a very well done video, actually.
Yeah.
He covers a lot of main points for augmented reality. This is quite exciting. Yes, I'm all about non-invasive technology. So like smaller headset, as small as possible. That's pretty cool. Wow. Well, that's exciting. Where can we get those? Where can we crowdfund that? Where?
Dude, in the video, the AR calendar is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I'm not to that point yet. Oh yeah, that is pretty cool. Dude, that's so cool. Are these all live demos too? Oh yeah, they are. Why aren't we kickstarting this? I'd rather kickstart this than what's the magic something? Leap motion?
Leap motion?
Leap
something?
motion. Yeah, leap motion.
Dude, it's got the GPS line thing directing you to where to go. It's cool.
Everybody's freaking out about leap motion technology. I ought to be freaking about one of these. Reach virtual reality with your bare hands. Oh, we can edit this out. Are you still there, Paul?
Yeah, I am. I just don't know what to say.
We could talk about the meta getting released.
Okay. What do we
So,
want to talk about it?
so I think the meta just started mass shipping, correct?
Indeed, they did.
What do you guys think about this meta, huh? What are you guys' thoughts? Hopefully the meta people don't come back to this. Where does this meta, since it's topical, we've talked about it before, but since it's topical, where do you guys see this meta fitting into the AR world?
Well, from like the demos we've seen, like that one conference where he was holding the holograms in his hand and like moving them around and stuff, that's like exactly what we were just talking about with interaction, but without controllers. I think that's a very cool thing. That video was very shaky, and I don't know why that is. So it'll be very interesting to get our hands on one, which I hope we can do because I think it's going to be a very cool device. To
Oh
use.
yeah.
It'll just be interesting to see what and it has that 90-degree field of vision, so that would be really cool.
That'll be crazy. I think we'll have to try our darnest not to compare it to the HoloLens because, in all reality, it's a different beast. It's like comparing a PC to a phone, almost, right? A very expensive phone. Is it fair to compare the two?
No, because, I mean, HoloLens, in one point, it's a standalone device, and this one, it's connected to your computer. So I bet you could run a lot more intensive things on the Meta than the HoloLens. What do you guys think?
But you also kind of have to compare it because they're both going after the same audience right now, which is business professionals, correct?
I would believe so.
So if you're a business professional and you're using this, like if you're an engineer, you're probably near a pretty beefy PC at all times, so you can handle being tethered. So I guess it depends on your profession, but I would say they're comparable for some people and not comparable for others. Like if you're person move around and can't be tethered, like, yeah, it's not comparable at all. But if you're like just someone who sits at a desk, maybe an architect or something, and is trying to design a building, like I would see the Meta as my solution because I can run high intensity programs on it and things like that.
I think a question that'll be really interesting to answer for our viewers if we get our hands on a Meta, which I really hope we do, is which device is best for you? Because, and we won't tell them which device, we'll just present the pros and cons of each, because the Meta is only $995, so $1,000. That's 1/3 of what a HoloLens cost. So even though it's not on HoloLens's level, it might be 1/3 as good and 1/3 as approachable for people. Well, 3 times as approachable for people. And so I think this will be kind of like the debate. Like, we talk a lot about like people have too powerful technology for what they need. And I wonder if the HoloLens is that. I wonder if the HoloLens is like too powerful for your everyday user, or if it's and too expensive, or if a Meta will fit them perfectly, or who knows, maybe one of those like little $20 HoloLens killer devices that they always rave about will be enough for people. And I think it's a really exciting time, and it's right now is when a lot of those devices are going to start hitting the ground, and it's going to be really exciting to see finally some competition in the field, because I mean HoloLens has gone, well, ODG a little bit, but I mean they've gone uncompeted against for years now, right?
Yeah, for about a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, year and a half. But yeah, I think it'll just be really interesting to see how all these devices fit into their respective markets. I think Microsoft is going to do a really good job of selling it to businesses, as they already have, and Meta, being a smaller company, might have some problems doing that, but that's ultimately going to be where their bread and butter is.
Yeah, I think they'll have a really good place in the enthusiast market. I think $1,000 is right around a perfect place for an enthusiast to want to spend money and pick something up, like VR enthusiast. I don't think, because the VR devices when they first came out were like $600, $700. I think tacking up a couple hundred extra bucks on that is not that far-fetched for VR enthusiasts. Wouldn't you guys think so?
Definitely not. I think it's a very reasonable price for them to hit it at. And I think, as Jason Odom says, like, I believe this was in reference to the Meta. He can correct me if it's not, but he says offices as a replacement for computer screens. So, like, the Meta will be in offices as the replacement for most people's computer screens and their general just desk setup. And I can definitely agree with that. Like, if I went to work and instead of having to log into a computer, I just put on my Meta and can instantly have all my spreadsheets up in front of me and just start working, I think that's really cool. And I don't know, I like to be like moving around kind of while I'm at work. So like, even though I have to set my desk, I still like stand up to look at stuff and move things around and make sure I'm making sense of things. So it's like, yeah, I can definitely see that as something that I would use. Like, I would prefer a Meta at work over a HoloLens, just looking at the work I do.
That is a great point, but to play devil's advocate, the PC required to run a Meta is much more powerful than any PC they're going to give you at work. Or,
yes.
I mean, because I think its minimum requirements is a 970, which is not it's not a beefy or expensive graphics card, but it's a lot more expensive than onboard graphics, you know?
But in their unboxing video, they plug it into a MacBook Pro.
It's not supposed to be compatible with MacBooks.
What?
The Meta?
Yeah, the Meta.
Did we get fake news?
It's not well. Okay. If I understand correctly, there was a video. A lot of the developer videos show them plugging their Meta into the MacBook, but from what I understand, it's not compatible with Mac. Let me go ahead and.
I'm going to confirm that right now on Meta's website.
Yeah, please do. I think if you go to the FAQ, it should answer that.
Yes.
But everybody was kind of butthurt because on the developer videos, they're using a Mac. And everybody's like, why can't we use a Mac if you can use a Mac? And they're like, don't ask questions.
All they say is we're exploring support for all relevant operating systems. So I'm gonna guess that means no.
That's a really a PR way of saying we don't have one. But when we did our video, we need your help and asked what device we should get. It was overwhelmingly in support for Meta. So actually, it was pretty even for a lot of devices, but there was a lot of Meta. So I think our viewers are interested, and we're interested. One thing I haven't seen is how interested the rest of the world is, because I know with the HoloLens they have E3 and they have Minecraft and they have all this big backing, but outside of the MR community, I haven't seen any Meta news or anything. Have you guys seen anything in your travels?
Nope.
No.
Pretty much we're
nothing
the
at
only
all.
people that talk about it in my realm of friends.
Oh yeah, we were friends, but like news, have you seen any news on Twitter or Reddit or anything?
Nope.
I've seen more news on Magic Leap than Meta. And Meta actually has a device, like they just shipped, they're shipping their second device right now. I mean, like, yeah.
And they're just
So,
a small
I don't
startup.
know.
I'm curious, how much funding? This will be interesting. Let's compare how much funding. Meta Angel List.
Put like Metavision, I think that's the name of the full company.
Okay, got it. Okay, $23 million in funding.
Really?
So that's
So Magic Leap has like 100 times that?
maybe more even at this point. Let's see how much they have now.
We don't know how much they raised in their second round, or
Right.
third round, or fourth round, or whatever it was.
Sorry, my computer's so loud when I type, guys. Okay, Magic Leap Angel List. Here we go. Oh my god. So just in Series A funding, they got 50 million in funding, and then after that, they got 542 million in funding. Then after that, they got 793 billion at a 4.5 billion dollar valuation.
Shit.
And this is 2017, so they should be gearing up to probably do another round of funding, actually.
Yeah, so they can bring a product to us, actually.
Woo!
Yeah, they're over 100 times. They're worth over 100 times Meta. Like,
And Meta is on their second device. I mean,
do you guys see Meta as a company that gets bought out by one of the big ones because they're worth so little right now?
you know, they're from Y Combinator. So, like, they have, like, a special place in my heart, because I think Y Combinator is, like, one of the most, like, humble beginnings you can possibly get. You know, you come from basically nothing, you get some funding, you compete and with your idea, and you get, you know, seed funding. I think that's really a great place to be. So, I hope they do well. What was your question again exactly?
Do you see them getting bought by one of the big players? Like, do you see like Apple going out and being like, you know, we're gonna buy you, or do you see Microsoft saying that, or do you see Magic Leap saying that?
Ooh, that's a good point. Maybe absorbing them. Yeah, I could totally see them, because I think Meta probably has some technology that other people want, because Meta's been in the game since 2013, you know. They've been around for quite a while, you know, 5 years. So they have some cool technology, some cool ideas. So I think that's totally a viable path, especially if they're only, you know, $23 million, if that's what they're funding. I don't know what kind of valuation that is. I can't do that out of the top of my head. But it probably wouldn't be the most expensive thing for people to buy. I mean,
And let's put this into perspective. So, they were founded in 2013, you said?
yes.
Magic Leap was founded in 2010. So,
But their first Series A funding was in 2014.
well, Ronnie was a very wealthy person before that, even.
He did some medical company, correct?
Yeah, a medical device company down in Florida.
Oh, Jason asked if does Magic Leap come out this year like the circling rumors say. No. I highly doubt it. I see it maybe end of 2018. When do you guys see a Magic Leap device? We basically talk about this every podcast, but it changes so rapidly.
The world may never know.
I'm going to say early 2018 because you said late 2018. I'm saying early 2018, like March. March or February.
We should create a pool. That'd actually be kind of fun. Get all of the Holo developers, Slack people, everybody puts on money on the exact date of when it'll come out, and then the guy closest to it wins. That'd be fun,
like
actually.
A Price is Right, like closest to it without going over.
Exactly. That would be fun, actually. And see who could get it closest to it. Is that considered gambling? Can you not do that?
No, you can do that.
Okay, that may be fun.
If it's
4.5.
just between a bunch of friends.
So we actually, Jason, we have some, what do we call it? Magic Leapers? Magic Leap Evangelists?
Magic Leap fanboys.
I call them the lepers. That's not appropriate.
Lepers? That's rude.
What the hell?
The Leapers. The Leapers. The Magic Leapers.
I'm sure they have some ridiculous, like...
They gotta call themselves something, right? What do we call us?
Oh,
Ethan, what do you call yourself?
Oh, Ethan showed up. It's like Beetlejuice.
You say magically too many times and...
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Oh my, we should add that to our parody video. You say Magic Leap 3 times and Ronnie Abovich shows up in the mirror or in your Magic Leap or something. That's hilarious. Haven't thought about that. Well, you better. I mean, there's a war brewing, the war of devices, and you better be prepared, Ethan.
Because we know what us HoloLens fanboys call ourselves.
What do we call ourselves?
Right, guys?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Holo
we do.
douches.
Oh, the Holo douches.
The
Yeah.
Holo douches.
And we're ready. We're coming
And-
at you. Dual
And Google
fists.
Glass people are glass holes, so you guys gotta come up with a cool name.
I like Leapers personally. Anyways, Jason says he asked that, and then Ethan doesn't know a name. Anyways, Jason, if you have a question about Magic Leap, save them up because we have some Magic Leapers coming onto the podcast soon. We're gonna have some guests, and no, that's Ethan says they should call themselves magicians. I think that's too cool. You can't keep that. You gotta.
Yeah, that's way too cool.
You
I
gotta
don't know,
come
our
up with
name's
something
pretty cool.
comparable to hollow douches and glass holes. so you gotta think of something better than that. Yes. So I should have said this at the beginning. Maybe I'll edit this into the beginning, so people actually hear it. We recently started sending out our forms to invite people on our podcast. So if you guys are interested and you're listening now, and if you guys are interested in your podcast, please either leave a comment below, hit us up on Twitter, or email us, and we can get you the right forms and everything we need. And when I say forms, it's not like legal forms. It's like, what's your Discord name? What's some relevant links you'd like? What would you like to talk about? Blah, 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 blah. It's nothing major. But we sent them out to like 5-6 people that have been interested, and we've heard back from most of them. So very soon, probably next week, I'm going to probably promise that. By next week, we'll have something for you guys, and that's going to have to kick our butts into gear to have guests on, which will be really exciting. I mean, lined up, I guess I could say, we have the Magic Leapers. We have some Magic Leap fanboys that know way more about it than us, and we think it'd be really excited to get them on and actually have a cool conversation. And like, because we've missed a lot. There's a lot in the depths, in the underground scene of Magic Leap that we've missed out on that these guys have been watching. So that'll be really cool to check that out. We have Lucas Risotto lined up sometime soon. We've got his information, and we're in contact with him, who's one of our most personal favorite developers for the HoloLens. Is that fair to say?
Oh yeah, believe in your dreams.
Believe in your dreams. So we're super excited to get him on. He's a really smart guy, and he's got a lot to say. We've sent one to Joseph Rampolla, who runs AR Dirt podcast. If you guys like podcasts, please go check out the AR Dirt podcast. We kind of pale in comparison at covering news. We'll just banter about random crap, but he actually is really good at covering all the happenings in AR realm. So go ahead and check the AR Dirt podcast out. We'd like to get him on there. Who else? Oh, number one HoloLens fan, who's exactly what he says he is. We'd like to get him on here. And so, yeah, I guess it's an open invitation to you guys. If you guys have anything exciting to say, or you just want to be on, go ahead and hit us up. It'd be super exciting to have you guys on. What are you hoping most from the interviews, Paul? Are you hoping we get someone like really crazy on?
Yeah, I'm hoping for like to turn the show into sort of like Coast to Coast, but with like
I was just gonna say that.
only with mixed reality people. I think that'd be hilarious.
Tech talk, coast to coast.
But I'm really hoping to get some like good information for our viewers, in all honesty, and just like expand our knowledge when talking about these topics because we kind of come from this.
Circle
Like,
jerk.
Yeah, and we kind of come from like the not really developer, like we're not developers for it. So we kind of come from this like almost I'd say consumer viewpoint, you know?
Yeah.
Where we're just looking at and like, oh, that's cool, and kind of talking about what we see for the future of things. So I'd like to get some of these guys on who know a little more about developing for it and can kind of give us a better image, you know?
Exactly. That would be really exciting. We want to get like technical people on. We have conversations with people that work at Microsoft, so we want to get some like developers that work at Microsoft on the HoloLens, and maybe if Meta's really chill and they let us get a review kit, or even if they just open up a line of communication, we could get some Meta people on. We just really want to turn this into the hub because, in all honesty, the podcast has turned into one of our, at least my favorite favorite pieces of content that we release. Do you guys feel similar?
Yeah, I love the podcast personally. I think it's the best way to connect with our great fans and kind of get their viewpoints on things because I think that's really more important than ours at this point. I mean, people already know what we think. I mean, we have this, like you said, we have this circle jerk mentality around the HoloLens, so it's fun to get other people's viewpoints. So
exactly. And Austin doesn't like the podcast. He'd rather stay on his phone while we're on the podcast.
Oh, I was just saying that we were
Roasted.
live.
Oh, you're making sure we were good to go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm sure that's what you were doing.
I was deleting the notification.
Oh, okay. Okay. What were you really doing on your phone?
I was looking at a text message.
I knew it, you dirty person. You're a terrible...
I'm sorry.
Continue. We're going to put you on the spot.
What? What do you want to know?
Anything.
Anything. Like Nope, you don't get anything.
Come on.
What?
We're waiting, right, Paul?
yeah, enlighten me, Austin.
Enlighten you about what?
Whatever your mind has to offer.
How do I know I need to be enlightened on something if I haven't been enlightened on it yet?
Ooh, that's a great point.
Like, you can't enlighten someone who already knows that they need to be enlightened.
Good point. Well, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. So continue on with the consumer discussion.
On that note, on those wise words from Austin, I want to thank everyone.
It's Paul's bedtime, but I'm not going to let the podcast end because I know. I know that the viewers want more.
More of what?
More what? I have a question. I have one quick question. We talked about this a long time ago. We talked about for like an hour and a half. We talked about security and privacy with the Google Home and Alexa and home devices. Have you guys seen anything about that recently, or was that just a big brouhaha? Now nobody cares because they all have one.
Brouhaha, no one cares.
Yeah, nobody cares.
What a freaking... I hate that. I hate that fear-mongering mentality so much. And I can guarantee it's going to come around with these glasses again. Because when we were doing HoloLens in public, and I was walking around, and I was recording people, and they didn't know I was recording them, they're going to see that video, and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, people can record us. And it's like... Anyways, I won't go down that alley.
That was a funny video, though. That was awesome.
That we haven't released quite yet. Paul, did we tell you about that?
No, you didn't at all, but I'll watch the video. I'll watch the video.
Paul's done with the podcast.
He's so done.
I'm not done with the podcast. You guys are done with the podcast.
Anyways, fine.
Tired.
Okay. I'm gonna go through the comments and then we can bail out. Even though we've only been going for an hour and 7 minutes.
Which is the norm.
We'll edit it down to like 45 minutes.
No.
Okay. I'm going to go through these comments. I'm going to thank people for being on the live stream. Okay. Thank you, Jason, for showing up, and thank you, Ethan, for showing up, and thank you, Pump Up the Volume, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to scroll all the way to the top, but thank you, everybody, for being here. It's been really great. I'm going to read off some of these last comments that we missed. I'm thinking the Magicians. Ethan thinks they should be called the Magicians. I don't know about that. Jason agrees that it's way too cool. All about that light field display. Got to spend the week with Lucas a few weeks ago. Very cool guy. Talking about Lucas Risotto. Same consumer boyfriend. As a developer, your consumer view is one reason I like your podcast. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Jason. That means a lot. When we started the Holo Herald, that was the biggest gap we saw. Was there was a whole lot of developers, and there was a whole lot of people interested in what the HoloLens was, but there was like no middle ground. You remember that? You remember that gap, Paul?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was nothing like there, and I think, well, we're doing our best to create that kind of sentiment, I'd say.
Exactly. So that's kind of our goal, and it's glad that we can provide it, and to hopefully both consumers and them, and bring them to one place in the chat. That's what's really exciting, is I can't wait to get a bunch of developers and a bunch of consumers all in the chat, and just this exchange of ideas and such. And Noah, thank you for showing up. Noah will be on our podcast soon, and with that, let me find some music while you guys say your goodbyes.
We'll see you, everyone. I'm glad everyone showed up tonight. I think it was nice of everyone to show up and have some good comments. It was a really interesting podcast, and I hope everyone enjoyed it, because I enjoyed talking to y'all, and yeah, it was a good podcast. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in on the Late Night HH podcast, and listen to us talk about random things. And yeah, we'll catch you next time.
I'm not ready with the music.
Okay, and
okay, I'm ready.
Okay, he's ready. I don't have to think of something to say.
Well, I guess this is about that time of the night where we gotta end the podcast. If you are listening to the pre-recorded version and you've made it this far, I'm extremely impressed with you. If you made it this far, let us know in the comments, and maybe we'll slide something your way. If you're here at the live preview, thank you guys so much for joining us. It means so much to have you guys here. The whole reason we do this is for the interaction with our viewers. We don't have a big fan base, but we have quite a loyal fan base. We believe we have a lot of community. We have very responsive viewers, and that's one of the best things about the Holo Herald, and that's why we do it, to be honest. We don't do it for the numbers, we do it for the people, and we thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been podcast episode number 22. I don't think I said that at the beginning, but it's been 22 weeks strong, and we're gonna make
it 23.
Oh,
I forgot to update the name.
It's 23. Okay, 23 weeks strong. It's 23 weeks strong. We're going to make it 24 next week. Be here or be square. We stream live every Monday at around 6 Mountain Time or 7 Mountain Time. Just be here. Just be on your phone. We'd love to talk to you. And this is the Holo Herald signing off. Thank you guys so much.
MR Star Wars.
Thanks, everyone.